Hey everybody, welcome. Revolutionary Love, all things love and relationship. That's what we're going to be here talking about every Wednesday. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you've grabbed a hand or telling your friends about this group that we're joining here. We're all practicing doing this different. I'm going to put my glasses on just for a few minutes, kind of greet some people as you're coming in. We'll leave just a few minutes to see if people want to join. Actually, not even a few minutes, and they'll jump right in. Hey Matt, how are you doing? I'm glad you're here. So, all things love. Last week was the Revolutionary Love Q&A. Had only a handful of people send in some questions. So I need to hear from you guys. Do you want me once a month to keep doing just an open Q&A? I'll do that if we want, so you can think about this week. What we're going to do for October then is go into more topics, and the topic today is the one that is so important. I'm really thrilled that you're here and that you're listening to this. There's almost not a person that I talk to, a client, family member, friends, that at some point hasn't said, oh, but I love him, but I love her. Doesn't that mean something? Isn't that enough? Isn't that something to go on? Isn't that what we're supposed to do, is just love somebody? And the answer is no, it's not enough. It's not enough for a healthy, functioning, long-term relationship. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Diane. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. Give me some likes and some hearts and let me know that you're here and that you are really interested in this topic. So give me a couple of comments before I jump into the teaching here. Hi, Roxy. Hi, Kate. Why are you here? Are you here because you're just loving all these teachings, which is what I hope, because I love giving all these teachings? Are you here today live because this one's really important to you? I'm just curious. Hi, Billy. Can somebody give me just a quick little answer? Can you really relate to this topic? Are you confused about this topic yourself? Do you have somebody in your life, a sister, a daughter, a colleague, a husband, somebody who's confused about this topic? This is so important, but I love him, but I love her. Doesn't that mean something? Yeah, Sarah. I know you and I have talked about that a lot. I'm really excited to be talking about this today. And as I mentioned, thanks, Roxy. Roxy says it's really important to her. I'm really considering writing my next book on this. So thank you for helping me talk this through today and give you this teaching. Let me just back up 1 second, give just a couple little housekeeping things going on, and then I'm just going to jump right in. Take the glasses off and, I'm going to jump right in here. Every Wednesday, I'm going to be doing these teachings. They're going to be as long as they are. I don't know. They could be 10 minutes. They could be 45 minutes. I'm just going to riff on this stuff. And if you've got questions, I'll check later and see if you do. You can always email me if you have any questions on anything that I've talked about. barb@coachbeck.com. Also, please, I've told you before, the whole reason I'm doing this is not just something where, oh, it's great for my marketing. I can continue to write my blog, do my talks, do anything else. I'm doing this because you guys have told me that this is so important for you to have this information, access to it, not have to be in my town and go to a workshop, not have to hire me personally if you feel that you can't afford that, and can get these teachings. So I'm asking you, if this is helpful to you, to please, when we get done with this, will you please share this video with anyone, with one person that you know needs it, with a group that you're in, anywhere, with your family. Will you please just take a moment and share this and say, hey, some great relationship teachings, all things love, from dating to relating to marriage to divorce to breakup to relationship with self, which of course is what it always comes back to. We're going to talk about it all. So I don't think there's anybody that couldn't relate to this or couldn't use this information. So if you will do me a favor and please take a moment to share this and pass it on, that would be really great, okay? I don't need people here live. If they're during the day they can't be here, great. I want them listening to it later and sharing the teaching and the videos with people that need this. Okay, so if you'll do that, hi Maria, if you'll do that and share this, which a lot of you have been, thank you. All of you right now that are on here, I know that you've been sharing this. So if you'll please keep doing that, that would be so great. It just is so helpful for us to keep creating that ripple effect out in the world. Okay? All right. Are you guys ready to jump in? Okay. Hi, Kristen. How are you? Glad you're here. Okay. Let's jump in then. Ready for this lovely quote, you guys? We accept the love we think we deserve. Ouch. We accept the love that we think we deserve. That one answers a lot of questions, doesn't it? If we're sitting here really wondering what is going on in my relationship, why is this so painful? Why do I keep facing these situations? Why, when I'm around this person, am I always left feeling worse instead of better? One of the places that we can go to first is simply to sit quietly and restate this quote that I just read. And just sit and contemplate it. We accept the love that we think we deserve. Wow. That one makes you think, doesn't it? So let me just jump in and tell you really quickly why this is so meaningful to me and so powerful to me in my own life. One, because there's probably not, yeah, that's true. There's probably not a week goes by that I don't work with a client where we're not talking about some form of this, some form of, yeah, but what about love? Isn't love enough? I've got 2 clients right now who are in the middle of breakups and know that this is the right thing to do. They're very clear that requirements are not being met, that it's time to move on, that love is not enough. But there's not a time with a client, even making this decision when they're clear, that they don't have that moment where they're quiet and they get teary and kind of choked up and are very, very vulnerable and feel that part of their heart that goes, God, but there's a part of me that still loves this person. And then they'll say something to that effect. Doesn't that mean something? Shouldn't that be enough? You know, we hear in society and all of the stuff we're bombarded with ads and marketing and everything, that love is all we need. Songs. Love is all we need. It's all about love. If you've got love, that's all you need. Listen to that. And what happens is that translates into us believing, which I'm jumping ahead here, I'm going to come back. It leads us to believing that if we have a list this long of requirements, I mean, real non-negotiables and deal breakers that are not being met, and we are not happy in this relationship, and it's not working, and we know it. We have this belief from everywhere, our parents, society, friends, songs, marketing, that if we feel any kind of feelings of love, if we still feel anything warm, fuzzy, loving, that must, ready, say it with me, mean something. Something like what? What does that mean? It means you have some loving feelings. It means you have some nice thoughts. Maybe it means you're hooking those to some nice memories. Okay, let me stop here. Let me go back. This is important to me because I did this, and it was one of the most painful periods of my life. And I had a huge wake-up call. And I want to share to you what happened to me. So when I was much younger and I was in a marriage that was not going well, and I don't mean, geez, we weren't just having fun every day. I mean, I made a bad choice, he made a bad choice. This was a very unhealthy, dysfunctional relationship. This was me pre-therapy, thank God, pre-therapy, pre-coaching, pre-spiritual director training, you know, pre. And I was one messed up girl from my childhood, for sure. Didn't know how to have a healthy relationship at all. But I knew that I just more than likely could not stay in this marriage and be married for the rest of my life and be doing this. I'm sure that was the best thing for him too. But oh my God, every time I would get there, I would suddenly feel these feelings of love, these feelings of warmth, and I would think to myself, oh crap, that must mean something. That must be a sign. So I'd spend time going through these pros and cons list, you know, good things about our marriage, bad things, good things about him, bad things, you know, where I'm at my best, where I'm not at my best. And then I would make this decision, yes, I need to go. And then I would lay in bed at night or something and I'd have some warm, loving feeling. And I'd be like, oh my God, that must mean something. That must mean something. And I kept waiting for the feelings to go away as my sign that I was finally done. You guys, sometimes that happens. I just find that rarely when we know that a relationship is not healthy or good for us and that we need to take the next step and get out of it. My experience, and my experience with most of my clients, is that most of the time they are not just completely shut down, don't have one warm feeling for this person and could care less and could just bolt and not feel anything at all. That's usually kind of called numbing out and shutting down. So I get to this place and I finally decide. And my sweet mother, Donna Lee, who in these teachings you will hear a lot about, one of the coolest, greatest, most loving women I've ever known. Also one of the most codependent women that I have ever known. I mean, stayed in a seriously crazy-ass relationship with a man who pretended he was in the CIA, ended up sexually abusing me, emotionally abused all of us. I mean, horrible. So this is who we're talking about, my lovely mother. God bless her. So I finally sit with her one day and I tell her, you know, what's going on, and we've talked about this a lot, and I finally say I've made a decision. I'm ending this marriage. And she's really quiet. And she loves me. She wants the best for me. And she says to me, remember, codependent, so we're talking serious, fearful woman. She says to me, oh, Barbie, isn't any love better than no love? Yeah, just let that one sink in. Can you freaking imagine? I remember looking at her and there was silence between us. And I went, no. Oh my God, no, Mom. And then it just broke my heart. It spoke volumes about what she was doing and why she was able to stay in such a toxic relationship. And so instead of actually scaring me and making me think, oh my God, maybe she's right, maybe any love is better than no love, it actually anchored for me this belief that, oh my God, I see in front of me this beautiful woman who's living her life with this belief, and I don't ever want to be that woman. On the flip side, I did go at that time for a few sessions with a therapist kind of / spiritual counselor. Probably the truth is she was sick and tired of hearing me, bitch about, I don't know what to do, I don't know whether to stay or go, blah, 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 blah. And after this, I walked in and I said to her, I think I've made this decision, but I'm not sure, whatever. And she said to me, had a couple of great comments here. This woman said to me, so I just have one question for you. She goes, so what's more important to you? Your self-worth or staying in your marriage at all costs? These are great ones, aren't they? Oh my God. Talk about a 2x4 up against my head. Want to hear the saddest part? I knew the right answer. But I was paying this woman a lot of money, and I wanted to participate in therapy. It took me a full minute to answer that question. I finally said, my self-worth. And that's where I'm saying sometimes when we ask the right questions, not questions like, should I stay or go? But these right, powerful questions, then our answer becomes easy. What's more important to you, your self-worth or staying in your marriage at all costs? What it told me was I had so much personal work to do if I had to take a full 60 seconds to answer that question. That stunned me. And anybody who knew me at that time would never have believed that would have taken me time to answer that question. I looked on the outside like I was a woman who had it together, was a strong woman who could make easy decisions and set boundaries clearly and easily, and that was not the case. But I projected that, and I put that image out there on purpose. It was a protection. Deep breaths, okay? If any of you have been there or relating to what I'm talking about here, either the message is around any kind of, isn't love, any love better than no love like Donnelly gave me, or whether it is, oh my gosh, what's happened to your sense of self-worth or self-esteem? That quote that I read in the beginning, we accept the love we think we deserve. Wow. If you're relating to this, give me some hearts or something so that I can really see that this is resonating. So here's what we're going to keep talking about then today. Here's the 3 things that I listed for you that we're going to make sure that we discuss. What does mature love really require? What does mature love really require? How do you balance your heart and your head? And if we're supposed to honor our feelings, which I talk about all the time, I want you to feel your feelings. I want you to honor them. I don't want you to skip right over them. Whatever's going on in your relationship, in your world right now with all this chaos and pain, I'm constantly saying to you, I want you to feel it all. If we're talking about that here in relationships, if we're supposed to honor our feelings, then why aren't they valid proof that you should stay and keep working harder? Why? That's confusing, right? For many people, that's really confusing. And that was confusing for me for a long, long time when I was younger. Okay? So I'm just going to kind of riff around all 3 of these, but let's at least just start with, what does mature love really require? I think a few really key things. Mature love requires, number 2, being able to balance your heart and your head. That's one of the first things that it requires. When I see somebody showing up in a mature way in a relationship, I'm usually watching a level of emotional maturity that's there. They're able to say, wow, I have loving feelings. I understand what's going on here, but I also can balance these feelings and this chemistry that I'm feeling and everything else, and my desire to be in a relationship or to want what I want with my head that's able to use my requirements. I've spent time fleshing out those requirements. I know what my values are and what's really, really important to me, and I know what those non-negotiables are. And in this love relationship, when I'm dating, when I'm seeing if I want to continue to date someone, when I'm in this relationship that I've been in for 6 months, 2 years, in this marriage now for 15 years, I'm able to balance my heart and my head, not to just run with either one of those. That right there is a sign of mature love, a sign of emotional maturity. Another sign of mature love is actually understanding that we create from our relationship with ourselves, the outpicturing of the relationship that we have with others. Do we have control over others? No. But we have a huge positive or negative influence over other people. Mature love means that we understand our influence and that our work begins right here with us, which you heard me talk about in the first live stream, with building a strong personal foundation under ourselves. Having a personal honor code that we hold ourselves to has nothing to do with anybody else or how they're showing up. Setting clear boundaries and being able to do that swiftly. Having our no mean no. Being able to say, no, that's not okay with me. And unhooking from the approval and validation that we so desperately, kind of fall into needing and wanting from other people. Laying that strong personal foundation is where we start to be able to have mature love and be emotionally mature in a relationship. Those are requirements. If you haven't done this work, if you don't know what your requirements are in a relationship, if you're like some of my clients when we first start with this that say, I don't think I have any requirements. I'm just looking for somebody fun. I had one friend tell me, I'm just looking for somebody tall. I'm like, oh my Lord. Sadie Nardini, I have permission to share this. We always laugh. I mean, she is just such a beautiful, fabulous woman, such a yoga guru, been my client for years, and we've done some talks and things together. We laugh because when I started working with her, she said she really was thinking, she was like, oh my God, I don't think I have any. I was like, none? You have no requirements when you're dating? She's like, no. We just laugh about that now. She's found the man of her dreams. She's just gotten married a year ago. But it took a lot of years for her to get to the point where she really understood that it was important for her to come from a place of emotional maturity, to be able to attract to her a mature relationship and mature love, that she had to know who she was and what she wanted. And she had to take time to flesh out those requirements and then to actually hold to them. And that's another sign of mature love. Talked with a client about this yesterday who's breaking up with a woman. The sign of mature love means that you are able to have an inner resilience, inner strength to know that you need to do what you need to do. You need to speak up when you need to speak up. That you have the ability to be mature enough to tell the full truth, all of it, kindly and directly. That you have the maturity and the wherewithal to be able to weather discomfort if there are conversations that need to be had. And that you have the inner strength to end a relationship when you intuitively know that that's what needs to happen. Those are the signs of maturity. That's the sign of mature love. Balancing our heart and our head in love. Being able to balance those things, not just running with the heart, but I love him, but I love her. And also not falling into that place, which is usually from protection, of just leading with our head. So we're sitting here like this. All right, I'm dating. Let me read you my requirements. That's protection. Balancing our heart and our head. Let's talk about number 3. If we're supposed to honor our feelings, then why aren't they valid proof that you should stay and keep working harder? When you hear me say over and over that I want you honoring your feelings, and again, let me push this out just a little bit. I am talking about everything relationship here, honoring your feelings when you're dating or sorting and screening through that process, honoring your feelings when you are in the process of dating someone, honoring your feelings that are coming up when you've been in a several-year relationship and intuitively you're getting some hits about, boy, something is really off for me here. Every time I'm in this relationship or trying to have these conversations, something is feeling really off. Something's constricting in me. I'm getting a knot in my solar plexus. Being able to listen to those feelings when you're in a long-term marriage, when you're sitting there 20 years in and you're feeling some of those same things. Do I want you to honor those feelings? Absolutely. I want you to honor those feelings that you're having right now, as I mentioned before, with all of this pain that's going on in our world. I don't want you skipping over anything. And that means, my friends, that I'm back here challenging you to make sure that you have a daily spiritual practice. You don't want to call it that? Fine. A daily meditation practice. You don't want to call it meditation? Fine. A daily practice where you are willing to commit to sitting quietly with yourself, no distractions, for at least 5 minutes. Why? That's how we access our inner wisdom, that still small voice, our higher power, the voice for spirit, whatever you want to call it. If you want to just call it your intuition and a gut feeling, call it that. I'm good with that. That's how we access it, is by getting our crazy monkey mind to quiet down, tapping into our heart center, allowing things to settle enough that we have some spaciousness around us, that our nervous system calms down so that we can hear the quiet, intuitive messages that are trying to come through. Okay? So right here, I'm going to stop and pause and again challenge you, please. We're only a few days into October. Will you commit here with me to sitting quietly, call it whatever you want, for a few minutes every morning to listen to that still small voice? That will also help you access these feelings. Every feeling is valid. I don't want you shoving any of them away. If you are feeling rage, anger, deep grief, sadness, joy, happiness, confusion, frustration, whatever they are, I want you to have time to sit quietly and feel them all. Now, how does that apply to what we're talking about here? When I say, I don't care if you have feelings of love for someone, when you're really intuitively knowing that this needs to not continue. What's the difference here? We're talking about feeling feelings, but understanding that you don't need to act on those feelings. When I was in therapy, I was so shut down at, I think when I went into therapy, maybe age 31 or something like that. I was so shut down from my childhood and from the abuse and that kind of thing, that I had become a master at not feeling my feelings. When my therapist gave me this sheet that had I think it had 100 feelings on it. And she said, would you take this home and do this homework and just circle the regular feelings that you feel all the time, just the ones that you do know that you feel all the time. And I remember going home and just crying for a week because I kept looking at that sheet of paper and just being absolutely stunned that people could have all these feelings. I circled anger, love. That's it. Out of 100, I had 2. Those were my go-to feelings. I didn't know how to feel anything else. Can you imagine what my relationships were like? That's actually the roller coaster that I lived on. I either was pissed as hell like this. I mean, I could get triggered like this, just angry. Or I'd have a wash of love over me, feel gratitude, and feel intense love. That was it. My therapist had me write on a card like this and put on my refrigerator, I do not have to act on my feelings. Stunning to me. I left that up for 6 months. I looked at it daily. At first, it just didn't even make any sense to me. And then it started to sink in. And as the walls of protection and things started to come down, I started to access more and more feelings and have more and more subtle feelings, like instead of anger, maybe it was frustration, that kind of thing. I want you to access your feelings. I want you to feel them. But we'll go back to what we were just talking about in love. Mature love means that you need to be able to balance your heart and your head. You need to be able to listen to your deepest wisdom. You need to be able to access and feel feelings all the way through, so that you feel feelings that come in, they feel intense and they rise and they feel scary. If they're what we term a negative feeling, they can feel kind of overwhelming. We can get flushed. Our heart rate can go up. But if we stay with it, that's usually where we flee. If we stay with it, we can watch them move. We can watch them kind of move through our physical body. And then if we stay long enough, you'll watch them and feel them start to dissolve. It's so fascinating. And at the end of that dissolving, almost like sugar in water, there's a sense of calmness. And right there is your nugget. Right there is your truth. Right there is the wisdom that I'm asking you to access around the love that you're feeling for somebody, and the intuition and the hits and the wisdom and the guidance that you're getting. Okay? So let me just see if there's anything that I feel like we need to recap here. We're told constantly, and much of this came from our parents because they didn't know what they're doing in love, most of them. Certainly from society and from songs and everything, we're told that love is enough. And I'm telling you, it absolutely is not. Love is enough for all kinds of things in this world. Love is enough for us to keep moving forward and just to continue to keep accessing the love. Unconditional love for everyone and for our world is absolutely what we're striving for. But that's a separate talk that I have given before. Are we striving for unconditional love in our intimate one-on-one love relationships? Hell no. No. Marriages, long-term relationships, dating relationships, any relationships, friend relationships, relationships with our parents, with our kids, we can hold ultimately the overarching big umbrella, unconditional love that we have for that person and for who they are, the truth of who we know they are. But marriages are contracts. They're agreements. I mean, the most obvious one that I can share with you is we don't have unconditional love in a relationship to the point where we say, sure, you can go ahead and physically abuse me, and because I want to be unconditionally loving, I will just keep staying. That's the most obvious, right? Okay. So, should love be enough? No, we've just heard that forever. Love is not enough. When you are in a love relationship or looking for one, starting to date, in one where you're trying to discern, do I stay or I go, in a marriage that you've been in forever, I want you starting to first look at yourself and say, how am I showing up in this? And am I showing up in a mature way with a level of emotional maturity that is really adding to the health of this love relationship? We always, 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 always start there. Not looking out here, deciding, do I need to stay or go? We always start here. Am I showing up in a mature way myself? What do I need to do to strengthen my personal foundation? We start there. And then we move to balancing our heart and our head, making sure that we're listening to our heart and those loving feelings, and that we're listening to our thinking mind that's helping us with the requirements, with our deal breakers, with our non-negotiables, and really using our wise discernment to say, does this relationship add to my life? How do I feel when I'm with this person? Are we having hard conversations, but we're doing this in a way that is deepening the intimacy? That's amazing. Or are we just constantly having hard conversations, arguments? There's toxicity. We're constantly in power struggles and nothing changes because our values are not the same. Our requirements are not the same. Mine aren't being met. Hers or his are not being met. And I keep quietly hearing that this is not something I should continue. But then in my quietest moments, I think, but I love him, but I love her, or I feel a loving feeling. Doesn't that mean something? I'm asking you all now, please, answer that. When you hear that in your mind and you hear that question and say, doesn't it mean something? Please take a moment to answer it. I want you to say to yourself, I'm big on saying things out loud. I think they anchor by us, them going into our own ears. I want you to say out loud, oh no, actually, love is not enough. And no, me having loving feelings still for this person that I know that I need to now leave doesn't actually mean anything. It only means that I have the ability, which is wonderful, to feel warm, loving feelings for somebody. And I'm probably basing those warm, loving feelings on one of two things. Either a quality this person has that I really do appreciate in them. That could be great. I appreciate qualities in many people that I absolutely choose to not be in relationship with. That is for sure. And I know you do too. Or those loving, warm feelings may be just based on memories that you've had. Memories of good times that you've had with somebody. And that's a great thing. That's a great thing. You don't have to get rid of the memories. But let's balance our heart and our head. Let's be smart about this. Answer the question for yourself from here on out and help somebody else that you're supporting who's having a hard time with this. Ask the right questions and get this one off the table. But isn't love enough? Doesn't that mean, in other words, doesn't that mean what we're asking ourselves when we're saying, doesn't this mean something? What we're really saying is, doesn't it mean that if I still have any kind of warm, loving, fuzzy feeling for somebody, doesn't that mean I shouldn't go? Doesn't that mean that that's a sign that there's something there to work with? And that I should simply, ready for this one, try harder, try harder, try harder, try harder, because I believe that me and my love could change everything. No. Nope, that's not the case. Not if there are requirements not being met. Not if there's toxicity going on. Your love is not going to change anything. Your love for yourself is going to change you, absolutely. Your being a loving person, leading with kindness, authenticity, and directness, telling hard truths, is a loving act, and that will have an impact on everyone. And that will have a positive influence and a great ripple effect out in our world. I hope this has been so helpful. I'm going to ask one more time before I sign off. Please, if these teachings in general are really helpful to you and you know that you have people that they would really be helpful for, please take a moment when you listen to this to share this on your own, timelines, to get a hold of your groups and say, I think this would be helpful if you listen to it. Please share this information. If this one specifically would be helpful to a friend or family member or colleague or somebody that you know who's really having a hard time with this, who keeps going into, God, I know I need to go, but then, I love him or her. Will you please ask them to watch this? And if you know that working with me for a while, I've got an 8-week package. If you know that you can't work with me for a year or 6 months, but you know that working with me for 2 months, 8 weeks straight together, just you and me, private coaching, would help you in any area, this topic, anything else we've discussed, building a strong personal foundation, a topic that you want to bring up. If you know that 8 weeks of us doing some powerful coaching together would begin to create some amazing change in your life, and that the time is now, not when we reach the new year, but before we reach the new year, so that when you're ringing in the new year, you already have all kinds of great change going on and feel empowered in a different way. Please have this be the day that you go onto my website, revolutionarylove.com, go into the contact me page and just fill out that page. I'll get a note that says, yeah, I want a complimentary 20-minute call with you, Barb. Let's talk about coaching. Okay? Do that. Don't wait. Life is short, you guys. We're here. Pass this on. Grab a hand. Thank you so much for being here, adding your energy to this, for doing this work. I love you all. Have a wonderful week. Bye.